Is up? I hope you're having a great day. I am Matthew Fresquez, and this is the Matthew Fresquez Show. We got a great show for you today, nice and short compared to the marathon first show that we had. On the schedule for this week, I'll be producing my third show on Thursday, where my guest will be Clinton Smith. If you're looking to get your emails in, we'll be talking NCAA football and the NFL. And as always, the email address is matthewfresquezshow@gmail.com. Make sure you get those in. With that said, I hope you had a great weekend. I know I did. The main reason for that was the WBC Super Welterweight title fight at Cowboys Stadium on Saturday night. That was between Manny Pacquiao and Antonio Margarito. Seen a couple fights in the past lately, and I wasn't impressed with them. This one, however, was a great fight. If you missed it, try to catch it on HBO. I know they replay them a week after on Saturday on HBO, so if you have HBO, check it out. And if you couldn't tell, this fight was actually at Cowboys Stadium in Dallas. I don't know how you could have possibly missed that. Jerry Jones had everything littered with Cowboys stuff, from the three cheerleaders, the Cowboys cheerleaders that sang the national anthem, to all the multiple cheerleaders that lined the path into the ring where the boxers walked in. The Cowboys Stadium was actually a sponsor for the fight as well. And the only thing that I was actually really surprised about was that there wasn't a giant Cowboy star square on the mat in the ring. Instead, it was Tecate Mexican beer or something like that. But it would caught me off guard with all the Cowboy stuff that was all over the place. No star in the center. But what else can you expect from Jerry Jones? Frankly, the Cowboys have nothing else to cheer about, so they might as well get as much as they can in this fight on pay-per-view, so somebody's watching them. But none of that mattered at all, because Pacquiao-Margarito was a great fight. I honestly wasn't expecting it to be this good. I've been disappointed in the past. This fight, however, lived up to every single one of my expectations, exceeded them, passed them. It was a great fight. Find some way to watch it. Watch it on HBO on Saturday. It was an amazing fight. As long as I guess you're a Pacquiao fan, it was an amazing fight. If you're a Margarito fan, things were a little shaky, but there's some positives to be taken from it. Margarito was banned, I believe, for a year for hand wrapping. He actually had one previous fight before this, and it was pretty much just a warm-up fight for this one. So he's pretty much fresh off of his suspension. For that reason, Freddie Roach, Pacquiao's trainer, was in Margarito's locker room beforehand, watching the hand wrapping, making sure that nothing fishy was going on, making sure that everything was to his liking. And ironically, Margarito's team was also in Pacquiao's locker room watching the hand wrapping of Pacquiao, and it was Pacquiao who was actually asked to re-wrap his hand because a piece of tape that they did not that Margarito's team did not see get rolled actually came in, and they were worried about that, and they wanted him to rewrap his hands. At the same time going on in Margarito's locker room, Pacquiao's team saw him possibly taking some kind of supplement, some kind of performance-enhancing substance of some kind, which is against Texas boxing official rules. The decision on that, Freddie Roach was pretty pissed off about this, actually, and he wanted a pre-fight urine test right after he thought he saw this, because the actual rules is up to the fight, after a certain point you're only allowed to drink pure water, nothing else, and it looked like he had some kind of coffee or tea, and then he put something inside of it. So Freddie Roach wanted the urine test. The boxing official said no, they'll have to wait till afterwards. Freddie Roach didn't like this because, one, Pacquiao could get hurt from this, and two, after the fight, the substance pretty much could have already passed through Margarito's system, so it wouldn't show up anyways. Luckily for all of us, for all the people who watched, the fight happened, and it was, like I said, it was a great fight. The fight was for the WBC 154-pound title. The contract weight was actually at 150 pounds. Margarito weighed in at 150, and on Friday's weigh-in, a day before the fight, and Pacquiao weighed in at 144.6. And then they actually weigh you on the day of the fight, and so on the unofficial weight as they walked in, Margarito jumped up 15 pounds to 165, and Pacquiao only jumped up 3.4 to 148. So if you can do the math, that's a 17-pound difference in weight. That's huge. And Pacquiao's never fought anybody that's been 17 pounds bigger than him. Along with the 17-pound difference, Pacquiao actually was 4.5 inches, is actually 4.5 inches shorter than him, and has a 6-inch reach disadvantage. I thought this would come into play a little bit, but I still thought, my prediction was Pacquiao would win by a knockout in the 10th round, just basically due to his speed and his footwork. If you've ever seen the speed of his hands and his footwork, it's amazing, and he finds ways through your defense. But I did think that the 17 pounds and the reach disadvantage would make a little bit more of a difference than it did. Watching the fight, I was actually caught off guard to see that Margarito was ready to fight. And if you've ever seen him fight, he likes to back his guys in his corner, get them up against the ropes, and then he just works them with his power. And he actually just seemed pretty content standing right in the middle, swapping with Pacquiao. And the first thing that I noticed right in the beginning was the speed of Pacquiao, and it's insanely fast. You couldn't see where his hands were going. Margarito couldn't see where they were going. It was insane. But for the first 4 rounds, Margarito was taking them. He would take a punch, he'd take a 3-shot combo in the face, smile, and come right at him. And that is until midway through the 4th round, Margarito took one body shot, and you could just see it. Margarito slumped over. Pacquiao saw it, came at him, hit him a couple times, After that, Margarito slowed down pretty huge for a while there, at least for 2 rounds. And it's actually interesting to see Pacquiao's pretty good defense, but in this fight, his defense was throwing punches. Margarito would come with a couple power shots, a couple jabs, hit him. Instead of Pacquiao covering up or trying to protect himself, he would come straight at him and give him a 4, 5. One time I saw a 6-punch combo, all connecting in the face or body. It was amazing. I thought for sure that Pacquiao needed to cover, but instead his defense was simply offense, and it seemed to work pretty much throughout the whole fight. And one thing about Pacquiao is if you hit him with a combo, he's not the kind of guy who's going to back down. He's going to take that combo, and then he's going to deliver one of his own. And it's almost like, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to pick you apart slowly, but if you hit me, I'm going to hit you back, and you're going to piss me off, is basically what he's saying to you. So all the way up until the 6th round, it was a pretty good fight. Margarito was taking it. I have to give it to you. I haven't seen anybody with that much heart. He was taking it. The 4th round, that body shot really hurt him. But then in the 6th round, Margarito had a pretty good round, at least comparatively. Most people still gave that round to Pacquiao. I was kind of on the fence. I'm not sure which way I would have given it. But Margarito had a great 6th round. Afterwards, actually, Pacquiao said that Margarito did hurt him in these middle rounds, and to me it was the 6th and the 8th round where there was a couple punches that caught Pacquiao in the face. There was one huge uppercut by Margarito that caught him square in the nose, rocked his head back, and there was a bunch of body shots that caught in these 2 rounds. And Pacquiao admitted that they did hurt him and that they did slow him down. And you could see it after those rounds. He started to slow down. He was dancing away a little more. He wasn't running. He was just dancing away, getting in a couple shots, kind of dancing away, dancing. And the times that you really saw Pacquiao get in trouble was when he'd get against the ropes. And he seemed to almost let him get, I don't know if it was fatigue or something, but Pacquiao would back into the ropes. And that's when Margarito would just go to work on him. Even though Margarito was immensely slower than Pacquiao, those power shots with that 17-pound weight advantage were starting to take its toll a little bit on Pacquiao. He would get in the corner, Margarito would work him, and then somehow Pacquiao would fight out of it. And then the same thing would happen in the 8th round. Margarito got Manny on the ropes a couple times, and that's when Manny started to slow down. But overall, Margarito took the brunt of this beating. By the 8th, 9th, 10th round, he couldn't see out of his right eye at all, and his left eye was starting to close up. But this is where I got to give it to Margarito. Numerous times the ref came over, the boxing officials came over. They were asking him, how many fingers am I holding up? How many fingers am I holding up? At any time, he could have said, I can't see him. He could have given a wrong number. But instead, he would give him the right number, and he was taking a beating. I mean, besides the 6th and the 8th round, which could have arguably went to Margarito, but most people still gave it to Pacquiao. Besides those 2 rounds, Pacquiao ran the fight. Pacquiao had the fight on lock, no questions asked, and Margarito wanted to fight. He wanted to keep fighting. Afterwards, he said that, I'm a Mexican. Mexicans don't fight. We finish things. And he said that he was sorry for losing, that he failed, but next time he'll do better. You got to give it to his heart. The guy could not see. He had a cut above and below his right eye, and he had a huge welt coming on his left eye, and you could just see every single time he would get hit, those bruises would just flap and shake, and that pain has to be almost unbearable. And yet he took it. And going into the 4th round, Pacquiao was still coming at him, not as hard as he was because he got hurt a couple times in the 6th and the 8th. But he turned to the referee, Lawrence Cole, a couple times and would look at him, ask him to stop the fight. But every single time, Cole would stop the fight for a couple seconds, ask him how many fingers. Margarito answered the question right, and they would start going. So it was a pretty interesting fight. And I was worried that it was going to be a technical knockout or a knockout going into this 12th. And honestly, I was starting to get worried for Margarito. I think they probably should have started the fight. After the fight, Margarito went straight to the emergency room, and he actually broke a bone in his face, his orbital bone, I believe it was. And so, but in the 12th, that's when I really saw something that I really like about Pacquiao. And some fighters might not do this. I don't see Mayweather doing this. But in the 12th, Pacquiao carried Margarito. He stayed away from him, gave him a couple shots. Margarito swapped a couple shots, and the combos basically from Pacquiao disappeared. And I thought that was a real class act. If Margarito was going to have that much heart and come out, Pacquiao already had it in the bag. There was no question. I mean, the only way that Margarito could have won was if he caught Pacquiao somehow and knocked him out. So basically, Pacquiao would, fight a little bit, just enough to win the round, and would back out. Nothing too fancy. And I thought that was a real class act on him. And the fight ended out with Manny Pacquiao winning on one scorecard, 120 to 108, winning every single round. And on the other 2, one he lost 1 round, and on the other he lost 2 rounds. You could really see that Pacquiao dominated based upon that, and based upon punches landed, as Manny Pacquiao landed 474 to Margarito's 229. And to me, all this does is solidify Manny Pacquiao as the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world. Mayweather does not come close right now. Manny is fighting anybody and everybody, and he's willing to fight Mayweather. He's given in to every single demand that Mayweather has made, and it's Mayweather now that will not fight. And I understand if Mayweather's, afraid of putting that 1 in the loss column, but if he is the best fighter of all time, like he says he is, he would fight Manny, because as of right now, he's not even the best fighter of his time, because Pacquiao owns that spot, hands down, no questions asked. I think the fight will end up happening. Can't wait to see that fight. I'm excited for when it happens, and my pick will be Pacquiao when that fight takes place. That's all I got for you guys today. Make sure to look for the show on Thursday. My guest will be Clinton Smith. We will be talking NFL and NCAA football. Get your emails in, MatthewFresquezShow.com. Follow me on Twitter, Matthew Fresquez. Go to my Facebook page, The Matthew Fresquez Show. Like it. Check out what's up there. I'm going to start getting some more things coming in on there. Again, thank you for all your support. This is The Matthew Fresquez Show. Thanks for listening.